Hello and welcome to Pixelated Realms Gamescast, your guide to the digital landscape, untangling the mysteries of your favorite titles and discussing the latest and greatest in video game fun. I'm your host, Alex Salerno. Alongside me is my brother, Tyler.
Hello, welcome everybody. I'm glad to have you and glad to be here.
Yeah, welcome back to our Gamescast. Today, we're going to be talking a lot about Helldivers II, which we're obsessed with. It's just, there's no other way to say it. We're obsessed with that game. And we'll talk a little bit about the Xbox drama that's been going on and how Xbox has basically said that they are going to bring their games over to PlayStation possibly or other consoles. So we're going to dive into that.
Yeah.
So have you been playing anything other than Helldivers, or is it just Helldivers? Is that like, is that all?
I've been playing a lot of Helldivers. It's really fun. But I've also still been playing through that Daggerfall Unity mod that they released. So
Yeah.
I'm still like playing through this Morrowind Daggerfall and just being like amazed by how like ginormous this map is. Like I think it's considered like the biggest map in all of like RPGs because it's like the scale is just ginormous and it's really good. Like it's really, really good. But I'm running into a few glitches now and I'm like starting to like get some game crashes. So I'm trying to work through those. But yeah. Mostly that and Helldivers.
It's like insanely impressive when you look at these like old games, and it's like they didn't have the technology that we do. They didn't have the cookie cutter engines that we do, like that, not cookie cutter, out of the box engines that we do.
Right.
And so like everything that they had to do was basically made from scratch.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like these people are crazy, and they were able to make this massive game that has all these like insane mechanics. Like you showed me a little bit about it, and I was blown away. I was like, "Oh my god! Like this looks so complicated and so difficult."
It's surprising, like it's how similar to the other Elder Scrolls game it is. Like you can really see like the things that they consider like core like game like mechanics in the Elder Scrolls series. Like the way that the skills develop, like you pick your skills and that's how you like level up and progress, and the whole idea of like mages guilds and fighters guilds and different associations, like that's all present, and you know we see that in every single Elder Scrolls game. So it's really, I love like playing game series and like that have those similar elements. Final Fantasy is another really famous one where it's like every Final Fantasy game, you know, the magic is gonna have like it's like a certain naming convention, like Fire Raga, and like, but it has a very different take on like, you know, the storytelling or the art style or, you know, just the battle mechanics or various other elements. So yeah, it's very cool. But now I want to play Morrowind again, because I'm like, you know, I've never really like dug into it too deep. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
I would love a Morrowind remake. Do you remember when we bought it?
Yes,
Do you remember
of course.
this?
Yes, yes.
I kind of still feel bad about that. I remember like, so a long time ago, my brother, right, Tyler, he was like, "Hey, like, I don't remember if you only had like certain amount of money or whatever it was, because you know we were kids, so we didn't have like income." And you're like, "I really want a new RPG, and I can only buy like one game because we're kids, and that's like it." And I was like, "Oh, I've heard about this game, Morrowind. I heard it's really good. I think you'll like it." But we didn't. The internet wasn't like what
I
it
was like
is.
way too young.
Oh yeah, you were probably like 12 or something at the time. You're probably in middle school, and yeah, and I remember like telling you that, and you're like, "Oh, okay." And we're like at GameStop, we're looking at all the games, and you just like trusted me. And the internet wasn't what it is today, so it's not like we could like look up gameplay on YouTube as easily. I mean, we might have been able to, but we didn't have like smartphones in the same way at the time. And then we got home, and you played it for like 10 minutes. You're like, "I hate this."
Oh yeah, it was so overwhelming. Like as like a young kid, it was like incredibly overwhelming. Even as like a young adult, it was incredibly overwhelming. So like
Yeah.
it was in 2002, so I was 9.
Oh, you were 9. It was
No,
even
wait.
younger.
Yeah, no,
Let me
that's right.
see.
Yeah. Well,
When did Morrowind
so,
come out? Morrowind.
um,
I mean, I don't
yeah,
think
2002. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think
It
we
came out.
I think it was like maybe like a couple years after. So maybe you were like
Yeah.
10 or 11. I don't
Yeah.
think it
Either
was the
way,
year it
though,
came
that
out.
game is so like narrative heavy and reading heavy, and I always was such like as a kid, I was always terrible about reading dialogue in games. I know I'm not the only one. But like I was particularly bad about it.
I'm still bad about it unless it's like really short. I'm skip, 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 skip.
No,
Depending on
that's
the
the best
game.
part now. Now I
Uh,
love that. It's like it's all part of the experience.
it depends on the game, honestly. Like I was playing through Soma again, and that game I read like every log, and I was doing like I was like investigating the backstory and stuff like that. But then some games you play and like I don't care about the log. You give
Well,
me
like
this like 6 pages.
try playing Disco Elysium without reading, right? Like that whole game as like a narrative reading, like what do you call that? Like a storytelling game. Like that's is completely based around that,
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well,
you
that
miss
game
out on
is
a lot if you skip all the dialogue.
yeah. Now I want to play that game too. That's a great one. I never beat it. I got through it like almost all the way, but I never beat it. I have to.
Yeah, same. I got like 10 or 15 hours in, and I just like kind of lost track. But it was just like it's such an intense game. It took so much energy to play that game. I had to like be in the right mood.
It is very intense, but I hope we get a Morrowind remake at some point. Well, I mean, supposedly at some point, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out,
Yeah.
but I don't know after Starfield. Hopefully,
Yeah, I mean
it's
after
good.
Starfield, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Elder Scrolls, they take their time, so like people the anticipation does build up, but like usually it delivers. Like Skyrim was good and like but like I don't know. We'll just have to see. I don't want to like speculate on this game that we know nothing other than that like
Yeah,
2-second trailer they released like years ago.
yeah, I know. Like the the thing with Bethesda games, and this is my last little point before I guess before I stop my rant, not rant, but my thought process on this is that like they rely on the modders like almost too much. I think a little bit,
Yeah.
and maybe they don't even realize that's what happens. But like people like for me like Starfield and stuff like that, I'm like okay, well I'll just wait until mods fix the game and then
Right.
I'll dive back into it. And then in like Skyrim now, like I play it again, and obviously that game is fantastic. But even without, but with the mods, it's just such next level and so amazing, and
There's so
it's
many
like
like quality of life things. Like there's always a mod in a Bethesda game that's like, well, this is to redo the whole menu so it's better. And you're like, well,
yeah,
why didn't they just
this
like make the menu better?
right. This game is great, but you have to download this thing that redoes the weather,
Yeah.
redoes the NPCs, redoes the combat, redoes the menus, redoes the quest structure, adds a bunch of new shit. Like you're like,
And that's like part of the fun because it's like sandboxy, right? It has that like Grand Theft Auto element where like people are like,
yeah,
I will take this and like do what I want with it. And that's cool. That's great.
yeah.
But like as far as just like someone who wants to play the game, like with all the additions of Skyrim that exist today, you think like I wouldn't have to download like 1,200 mods for it to be like an experience.
Yeah, well, they released the special edition, which was
Yeah.
basically the game plus a bunch of the most popular mods.
Yeah. Like
So,
official.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, officially like backed and baked into the game,
Hmm.
which I just thought was funny. I'm not talking shit about Skyrim. Like, I love that game. I'm just,
Yeah.
you know, I want them to move forward, and like, I love Bethesda, and I know a lot of people love Bethesda, and I want them to succeed.
Right.
Right? And so I want them to come out with a game that's like, "Hey, this game is awesome without mods." And then it's just next level with mods. Like to me mods are right is like once you've beaten the game and you want a different flavor of the game, right? That's what mods should be for.
Yeah.
Or if you want to extend beyond, not to fix problems in the game. That's not what mods are
Right.
really for.
Right. Yeah.
But that's kind of what they've become. And I want Starfield and I want Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out to be those games that are like great out of the box, or maybe not even out of the box, but eventually I'm even like willing to go that far.
Well, like I don't know. Like think do we have to like check in on Starfield? Like is Starfield okay? Like what's going on? Like we started the podcast when Starfield came out and like I feel like that game like is now in the grave and like nobody talks about it.
Yeah, I read somewhere, and I'll have to fact check myself on this later, but I read that like 99.9% of the player base of that game has dropped off,
Oh
which
my
is considering
gosh.
like Skyrim is still like
Yeah.
one of the like
It still sells,
top
right? Like
50 most sold games, or whatever. Now Starfield is like nobody's played, which is amazing. And like I I I understand where Bethesda came from when they were designing this game, and like all the decisions that they've
yeah.
made. Like I understand where that originated from, and the like exploration, and then to want to create this game that's more of like kind of a slow burn and all these things, but it just didn't
I
work.
mean, yeah, there was still like mechanical, like fundamental like gameplay loop issues that like weren't fun, right?
Hmm.
The fun factor wasn't really there. Like there was a lot of like incredibly cool things about that game, and I feel like there's just like a few bad. I I think one of the major things, and not to go back to like our Starfield video, but like it was like it felt like it took a step back from what Bethesda has like typically offered as far as like dialogue and characters and quests. Like I
Hmm.
really think it was like the quests that got me. It was like
Yeah.
go here, do this, and come back. And I was like, wow, that was a really long experience for like a really kind of boring quest.
Yeah. And for very little payoff.
Right. And like it was really cool, like and cinematic, but yeah, it wasn't that
Yeah.
great. But
Yeah.
instead of speaking of those games, I think we should pivot back to what we have been playing, which is
Okay.
Helldivers 2. There's a lot to discuss about that game. I know we're both enjoying it a lot.
Hmm.
It's like should we give like a brief overview of what kind of game it is and like kind of how it works?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Let's talk about it. I mean, we've been playing a ton of this game. And so like I pre-ordered it, and I kind of liked what it was, what it promised when the trailer came out. And I was uncertain, to be honest. I had never played the first one, but I
Yeah.
was like, okay, like it's a co-op game. I'm always looking for games to play with my friends. It looked
Shooter.
it's a shooter, and it looked pretty fun. Like it looked fun. Played it, obsessed. Absolutely obsessed with
Yeah.
it. Um
It really plays out kind of like that like typical I don't I guess I shouldn't say typical, but like you get into a group, right? And you drop into these missions, you have to do some kind of mission, right? Whatever, kill the bugs or kill the enemies, and then you have to evac, right? So it kind of has that like mission evac like gameplay loop, but the whole time like it's like kind of shrouded in this like hilarious like satire and very similar to that like Starship Troopers, like
yeah.
every soldier is important and matters,
I'm
and
doing my
you
part.
right, I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
my part, and like all that stuff. It is so funny, but like when you die, it just sends like another guy, a replacement, like immediately after you. So it's like it's all like really kind of paved in this like hilarious tone. It's been really enjoyable. Um, and like just mechanically is very sound. Like I feel like the
Mhm.
shooting feels really good. You get these like airstrikes and different commands that you can you physically like type a code into your controller or your keyboard to activate, and that something that's really easy to do when you're not being attacked is becomes incredibly hard when you have like 60 bugs chasing you. So
Yeah.
those little like elements of difficulty are so underutilized in video gaming, and I love when people like make it a part of their gameplay.
Yeah. So let's describe the game a little bit, cuz I think we kind of jumped in early. So the game, like you said, it has this hilarious Starship Troopersness to it of it's like America the game. You play as this what's called a Helldiver, and you're this soldier on Super Earth, and you are protecting these ring of planets around Earth. And what's really cool about it is that you are playing, it's almost an MMO in the fact that you are the camp I'll loosely call it a campaign, but the campaign is every player who owns the game is playing the same game together. So you see this galactic map, and the enemy is pushing in towards Earth while you are trying to push them out as all of the players together. And so each mission you do contributes to that success. And they have this concept of what they call game masters. And I think these are actual like developers or something like that that are constantly monitoring how the players are pushing back the forces and are tweaking the game to make, add events and make it, push the enemies in or kind of loosen them up a little bit, however it needs to
Provide
happen.
strategy.
Exactly. So it feels like the game is this living entity. And it's only the first week. So right now there's where there's this one main sector that the game is focusing on that everybody is trying to, capture these 2 planets.
Liberate.
We're trying to liberate for democracy. And the propaganda in this game is hilarious. So the entire time, like you were saying, every time you play, it's like the propaganda is everywhere. It's like, this is for democracy, do your part, everything. But you're right. And then you're like basically cannon fodder. But they trick you.
Cannon fodder.
You're cannon fodder, but they trick your character. Like it's very clearly the character that they're like trying to convince you that you're this unique individual, but when you die, they'll replace you in a second, like you were saying. And it's hilarious. They do that through the whole game. Even in the tutorial, like the very first thing, this general is training you, and he's like, "I'm very hard to impress. You better really, really work hard for this." And then you do like one minuscule thing. And he's like, "Wow, I've never seen anything better in my entire career."
You're the
like,
best soldier I've ever seen.
You're like, all right, this guy's blowing smoke up my ass. But it's so funny. It's like it's not overdone, but it's done very. I mean, it's
supposed
blatant.
to be a little overdone, but it makes its point really well. But like, it plays into the gameplay perfectly because all you are is as a player, all you're doing is going to these different planets and dropping in and trying to achieve this mission. So it just like, when I log into the game, it kind of feels good. I'm like, okay, cool. What mission am I going to do today? What am I working on with this community of players that is going to get us more rewards for liberating this planet or liberating that planet or going against this particular sector? I think this is a really good foundation already, and I'm like already really if you're excited for like what the game's going to be in the future too, like I think that's a good sign where I'm like, I'm happy with it now, but I'm also really excited like what might be coming.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about the gameplay too much yet, but we'll kind of get to that. But something that I think this game does very, very well that a lot of games miss, and they miss this because it's very hard to quantify, and it's one of those things of like, how do you quantify fun? For instance, you can't write a book on fun. You can't, do that kind of stuff. But I am now invested in the universe of this game, and I don't just want to play the game. I want to see what's happening in the world. And because other players are affecting this like live universe, I'm so curious. Like for instance, this morning, so I've been playing a little bit every day, and this, I don't know, afternoon or whatever, I was playing, and I noticed one of the planets that we've been trying to capture was liberated while I was gone. And I was like, oh shit, we got this planet. And I like felt good. And I was like, oh, we got the planet, because there's these 2 planets we're trying to capture to get this sector, and now there's only 1 planet left. And I was like, oh shit, we did it. And I can't remember the last game where I felt like, oh, we did it.
Yeah, like it has that community aspect is really cool. Like it could, I'm curious if that's gonna like continue to like feel that cool, or if that's gonna like teeter out, like this is one of those games where I suspect at some point, like I don't know what hour count that's gonna be, I'm gonna be like, okay, this is really repetitive and I'm gonna put it down. But like that doesn't mean it's like a bad game in any way. I still think it's really cool, and I could still pick it back up and play it again. Like that's what I love about a good multiplayer game. It doesn't like punish me if I like want to take a break, but I can always pick it back up for a quick match and have a good time. But like if you want to play it every day like we are right now, then you have all that like cool investment, like you said, of being like, okay, as a community we're progressing together. So that unique, you see, we've seen that take on a couple games in the past where like you're working as a community to like change a map or like progress some kind of war, like you got to think of oh shit.
Chrome Hounds is the first thing I think of.
Really? What is Chrome Hounds?
You don't remember Chrome Hounds?
No.
Oh my god. It's it was a FromSoft game in the same kind of, it was like Armored Core where you're a mech, but it was you picked one of 3 factions, and every like month you had this. I'm probably getting this wrong, so people are listening are going to be like, "Oh my god, it wasn't every month; it was every blah blah blah." But whatever. The point is the same. So
it's a mech game.
And you played mechs, and every time you played a match, and if you won, your faction would gain points, and whoever at the end of the month got the most points or whatever would like win. And then you get like bonuses and stuff like that. So it was that similar thing where like you were playing a community, but it was PvP based.
Yeah.
But it's very
Wow.
similar to that. But
That was
that's kind
that
of
would have
what
been
I
an early
oh yeah.
adoption of that. I was thinking of Foxhole, right, where it's just like a
Oh
constant war and like everyone's always contributing. But that's like the ultimate example of this kind of like
yeah.
style of community-driven gameplay. Um, but yeah, this is like just enough to where I don't feel like in, for example, in Foxhole, which is a game that has a continuous war going between both sides of players, you can just feel like out of touch. Like you're like, I don't know what the plan is. I wasn't at the meeting, I wasn't invited to the Discord. So I don't know what's going on. But in this game, like you just kind of drop in, drop out. Like you're not like committing yourself to like some long drawn out committee of things. So yeah, it's been really fun. I mean, it's mostly just shooting and throwing in airstrikes, and who doesn't love throwing in airstrikes? Like, especially when you have like nukes and cool like napalm and other cool things like that.
Yeah. I mean, how satisfying is that though? Like,
Ex- well,
like
like I mean, we gotta say, like, how many times have we like airstriked each other? Like
but
a
that's
million.
but that is like honestly kind of part of the fun of it. I
Yeah.
remember I was playing a co-op game with a bunch of random guys and I threw this, barrage, but the barrage has like a very wide area and all three of them were standing in the same spot and just happened to get mortared by one of my barrages and they all texted me and they're messaging me in the chat. They're like, dude, that's fucked up. And I'm like, it was just bad luck. Like, what the? I threw that thing as far as I could. I don't like it wasn't my fault.
The game, another thing we haven't even talked about is how hard the game is. I mean, it's like really, really hard, and you have to like really try and have teamwork and have like practical like plans and ration your equipment and ammo and resources, which is something that's really cool. Like at first I was like reloading every 2 seconds, and then I was like, oh crap, you don't save your ammo and clips. So then I had to remember like, okay, only reload when your clip is empty, but then that causes you to be confronted with an empty clip and a horde full of monsters in front of you. So it's like there's so many of those like little mechanics that they really nailed, and
Yeah.
it just makes for like a really fun experience. And fun factors, like you said, is hard to define, and this one definitely wins. It definitely it does a good job at the fun factor score.
Yeah, and it's a $40 game. It's not even a full like $60-$70 title. It's a $40 game with a $20 possible I'm not gonna call it a battle pass because that's not exactly one for a battle pass.
Call
But
it like a DLC because it's like
it's more like
it's
DLC.
well, it's like a battle pass, but it actually gives you equipment you can't get outside of it. So that's a con to me. I don't like that.
But it doesn't
call it out.
But the equipment you get doesn't make you any stronger. It's not exactly pay to win.
But it's different equipment options. It has an effect on the gameplay.
Yeah, mostly cosmetic, but you're right. It does have a minor effect.
Yeah.
But
so that's like my only downside of the game so far. And like they've had some connectivity issues, but they'll figure that out, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the first week. I think they're just getting a surge of players. And I know I sound very like I'm defending the shit out of them, but I feel like in this case
like when games are popular, like I think that's to be expected at least a little bit.
Yeah. But you know what? Speaking about that, something I got to give them major credit for is I don't know. Have you looked at the actual money store yet? The
No.
I think they call it the Superstore because everything is super because it's Super Earth.
Yeah,
and,
Super Earth. Yeah.
So they have like every I don't know so many hours it refreshes the store and there's like 4 items you can buy. And I know one of our most popular videos that we have on YouTube is me complaining about how the $25 Diablo 4 skin is what I call predatory, and people are like, "That's not what that word means." Well, you get the fucking point. Anyways, in this game, the skins are $1 to $2.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
That is correct. That is
and
the correct amount of money.
And you get that currency with the free battle pass, or as part of the game purchase, I should say.
Exactly. So now I do not feel bad at all, and I will probably spend a ton of money on this game just to tell them I'm voting with my wallet, right? I'm saying I respect the fact that you are respecting my money, and I am going and like I even yeah, you're right. With the battle pass, I even have they give you a bunch of the credits. So I could buy like all sorts of stuff. So if I find some armor that I really like, I am 100% gonna pay for it.
Well,
Um
Alex is dumping his paychecks into this game. I'm playing as like without it, and I'm still having a great time and like have plenty of options. So yeah, it's we're looking forward to it, and like the fact that this is like a PlayStation Studios title, I think always like goes to like kind of
mhm,
I don't know boost PlayStation's brand as a whole.
mhm,
Um, just like I know we're going to talk about Xbox a little bit here, and just like thinking about this like whole console war and how it's developing now into like two separate worlds. Like they've Xbox and
yeah,
PlayStation have finally decided like, okay, we're going to stop competing with each other and just try to do different things.
mhm,
And I think that's been an interesting development because like when we were kids, it was just like
the war.
it was the war between Nintendo, PlayStation, and Microsoft always. It was
Yeah.
just like, well, which console did you buy? It wasn't like, oh, they all had their place. No, it was like, which one did your parents like choose for you? And
Or did
so
we choose because that's all we could afford, right?
or whatever. Yeah. So, but now it's like Microsoft is like, hey, we're probably just gonna like start integrating our stuff into everyone else, including PC and
Mhm.
PlayStation. And PlayStation's like, we're gonna just keep continuing to do our like exclusive games because they seem to be working. And I
Yeah.
have no problem with that because I'm enjoying both sides of it.
Yeah. I mean, before we fully transition, I just want to say that I really hope that they continue supporting Helldivers because I find the game very fun and I'm going to probably continue to play it. Like last year, we got Remnant 2, and I really
So
appreciate
good.
that game because that game is amazing. I think I have like 80 hours into it. Um, love that game. Love to have a good, solid co op game.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough of those. And we're just very lucky now to have back to back last year, now this one, have two really good, solid co op games. And so I really hope that they continue to support this game, given that it's almost inherent. I'm going to use this very loosely, but it's like inherently a live service game because it has that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It has to be live service because they've decided that it is, in that like
Mhm.
with the community
Yeah,
aspect, yeah.
yeah, the fact that the community is playing this galactic war together, it's sort of so I really hope to see more updates in this game. Not saying I'm not done with it at all. I'm still, very early in the game and have a lot of time to play with it, but I would like to see them, you know, add new stratagems, which are what the strikes you can call down and stuff like
The
that, and new weapons
airdrops, yeah.
exactly and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to what this game has to offer. But uh you got a good transition with the Xbox thing. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And we've actually talked about this a little bit in the past, and people left a bunch of nasty comments. Uh, and now I have come to say we were right because we were, and we knew we were. So Xbox has basically come out and said that they're considering bringing games to other platforms, including the PlayStation 5. Not surprised
Doesn't surprise me.
at all. And if you were surprised, you're not paying attention. This is what we've said in the past. Xbox is building an ecosystem. They don't give a shit about hardware. They are building a platform that they can deploy their games to, and you can play as the consumer anywhere. Right? Like, and they've been
On
doing that
any
for years.
device, on
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the plan for sure.
Yeah, the cloud, the PC, the Xbox. Now, I will say this: I do not think the concern here that a lot of people have is that they think the Xbox is going to go away. I do not
No,
think it's going to go away.
no, it's not.
No, I don't think it's going to go away. Do I think they're going to focus on it as much? Maybe like trying to compete with PlayStation? No. Also, no, right? Like they're going to put out an Xbox every so often, but I don't think they're going to try anymore to compete with PlayStation. They're not going to try and be like, hey, this is the Ferrari that is losing us money every year because we have to compete with PlayStation. No, they're not going to do that anymore. They're going to say, hey, this is our system that works with every game that we offer, and it works well, and this is it, right? We're gonna
I
just
mean,
hand
it's
it
kind
over.
of like you could call it kind of the end of the console wars, where they're
Mm-hmm.
just saying like we're just not gonna fight about this anymore. We're going to go a different direction. You know, PlayStation and Sony have had so much success with like their exclusive titles and like developing like internally, you know, through Sony Studios and various, you know, Santa Monica Studios and all these people, that it's like, right, they're not comparable. Like Microsoft kind of just like lost as far as the exclusive games went. Like once like Halo Infinite, never like that was the last like bastion of hope. Like, oh, Halo Infinite, and I know some people like really enjoy that game, and no hate there. But like, yeah, they just kind of never really figured out their exclusives super
Yeah.
well, and they decided to go a different direction, and it's you know, it makes sense. It's a very smart decision.
Yeah, and I like Halo Infinite, and the thing is, I don't think they ever needed to compete in the modern day. I mean, back in the day when things were different, they did need to compete. But in the modern day, with cloud computing, with accessibility everywhere, we no longer need to do that. And basically, what Microsoft is saying is, hey, we're changing the way we're playing this game. And they're actually, I would say they're taking a page out of Nintendo's book, because Nintendo has never played the conventional game. Nintendo is
they
like,
have their own book.
Yeah, they're like, console war, what is that? I've never even heard of that. Like, they're just doing totally their own thing.
We're
and
gonna create a banjo controller.
Exactly, and the bongos. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, Nintendo is like, so like, we do what we do, and we do it very well. And
besides online multiplayer,
yeah, famously. I mean, they do a lot of things shitty too, but the things that they do well, they do well, right? They make great family games,
of course.
And Xbox is like realizing that the console wars are over. PlayStation has won, and they won a long time ago, but that doesn't mean Xbox has like lost, right?
No, they're thriving in a different way. They're just bringing their games in a different platform to more people, and Game Pass has been a like huge success. Like no matter which way you cut it. I remember when Game Pass was just like this terrible UI beta on my computer, and I was like,
yeah,
this is cool, but it doesn't work, and I don't want to waste my time with it. Like it was really buggy. The UI sucked. It was atrocious, honestly. I'll say that. It was atrocious. And every couple of months, I'd just get updates, and then they released like a beta version of the new type, and I was like, this is getting better. This is getting better, and more games came on, and more games, and here's all of the Riot games, here's all the Bethesda games, and I was like, holy shit, like they've actually done it, and like so that's been a cool little success story I've been seeing develop over the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely, and like I think they're comfortable being there, and this is what we were saying, however many episodes ago, is that they don't care that PlayStation is winning the consoles, and they're going to try and now. But they bought all these companies, and they're going to try and push their games out to as many people as possible to be as accessible as possible. They want to play. They want to be on your phone. They want to be on your streaming devices. They want to be on your computer. They want to be on your Xbox. They want to be on your PlayStation. They want to be everywhere. So this kind of begs the question, like, would you feel uncomfortable if Halo came to the PlayStation?
No, I would never care. I never did care. I mean, it's just like games should, if the console can play it, I think it should be brought to that. The exclusives always seem silly to me. Like, I mean, unless there was like a specific reason, like we have tailored this to the PlayStation, it plays the best on the PlayStation. Like, okay, fine, but like other than that, like, yeah, why not? Like, I hate when people are like, oh yeah, I have an Xbox, so I haven't ever played a Final Fantasy game or something like that. And I'm like, that sucks. Like, you're missing out on a great series, like because you don't want to buy another $400-$500 console, which I understand.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's come down to the point now where we have been gamers for so long, and we have seen games come from, and I'm, talking about you and me, like, we have seen games come from the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. We were a Sega Genesis house. We had a Sega. From, we actually
We
even
also had a Super Nintendo.
We had Grandma had a Super Nintendo, and we had a Commodore 64 and an Atari, which I have in the garage. And we then, moved to N64 and Xbox 360, and then eventually, we had like a PS4, now PS5, and it's back then it made sense because the internet wasn't was it what it was today. But being modern gamers, it's amazing to me that anybody gives a shit about the platform that you're playing a game on. It is
Yeah.
about the games, and I like do
And they're all
not
the
care.
same. Like if you open up an Xbox menu and you open up the
Hmm.
PlayStation menu, like it's all just the same crap. Like you have to go or the Switch
Hmm.
menu. There's some kind of panel with all your apps and games, and all of them can also do Netflix, and all of them can also do
Hmm.
your podcasts, and so and that's great, and I love that because like there's a need for that. Like there's a certain need for that, but also like it's just not as like it's a standard now. We don't like it's I don't even know how to put it. Like it's just not something that like stands out anymore as like a just differentiating factor.
Well, I'll go as far to say that I think the console wars were ended the minute crossplay became standard. As soon as crossplay became more standard, nobody cared what you're playing on. It-
I mean,
because it
I feel
used
like
to
it's yeah. It
it well
also
it
is like the PCs. Like the
Mhm.
PCs now are so flexible, and the fact that like I can play my Xbox games and my PlayStation games to some variety on my PC, and I can make that PC like really really. I'm like PC master race ranting right now, but like it's the fact that I can like give a souped up version of these other consoles, and to me that's like a huge benefit. But like I need to also think about like myself, like what if I was 12 in 2024? Like of like I couldn't afford to build a PC, so maybe a $400 Xbox as a Christmas gift is a more practical option.
Right. But back in the day, the only reason that we had this, not the only reason, but the one of the main reasons. I mean, there's really two reasons, right? There's the game selection is why you chose your console, and what your friends had.
Right.
Because if your friends had a different console, you couldn't play with them. And so that was a huge factor. So if one friend had an Xbox 360 or a PS3, you had to have the same thing, otherwise you
Yeah.
guys couldn't play together. Now, the minute crossplay hit the network, doesn't matter. PS3 or well, now PS5, Xbox Series S, X, doesn't
I mean, you're
matter. You
right
can
though.
play
That
Call of
was such
Duty
a big
together.
deal. It was like, oh, dude, do you want to play Call of Duty? Call of Duty, yeah, that's great. I love Call of Duty. Oh, great. Oh, I have a PlayStation. Oh, I have
Yeah.
an Xbox, and it was just like such a bummer. It was
Yeah.
and then
I
like even like if you went over their house and tried to split screen with them, you're like, shit, these controls are so like weird,
Everything is so different. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a real concern. I remember texting people that literally being like, "Hey, what system do you have?" Because otherwise we can't play together.
Yeah.
But now it doesn't matter. And it's awesome for kids. I love that kids doesn't matter. They can get whatever, or not just kids, but
Yeah.
people like casual gamers, whatever, can play these games and not care what console. I'm on my phone. It doesn't
I was
matter. I'm
about to
playing on
say,
my,
yeah, like
like
you could be
it,
on your phone.
it's so good. Like it's great. It's and there's nothing but good things. And I'm amazed to see some negative comments online about some of these some of these decisions. And I'm thinking like, why? This benefits you. The fact that games are now becoming more more standardized is just a benefit. If you're like one of those hardcore Xbox, PlayStation, PC people, like I totally
Oh.
understand you liking your platform, but if you're shitting on other people, that's a dick move. We should be coming together as gamers and being like, "Hey, we can play anywhere, wherever you want, in the cloud for all I give. Like, who cares? We are playing together, and this is awesome." So
Well, I mean, you're never going to hear me complain about crossplay or being able to have more options when it comes to playing together. So, um, but yeah, it's that's our random thoughts on console wars right now and how things are developing and our rambles. I think that's a pretty decent end cap for our little
sure.
episode tonight. Anything else on your mind while we uh, are eagerly awaiting to dive back into Helldivers 2?
No, I'm definitely gonna spin that up as soon as we're done, though. Uh, but We really appreciate everyone who follows us and subscribes to us. We post new episodes every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on podcast services and YouTube. So catch us there. We really appreciate your support. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Pixelated Realms Podcast. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to be notified when we post new episodes. We post new episodes. Oh, I already said that. So everyone, have a great night.